Welcome to Indie Music Podcast, episode 330, Outreach and Promotion. This morning, Matt and I get together and talk about content creation, advertising, and reaching out to potential customers. We also get into a discussion on the stigma that exists for starving artists and people's expectations that artists should have to pay their dues and sleep in the van when they're on tour. We hope you enjoy the show.
Recording in progress.
Yeah,
Hey.
such a lovely voice.
Recording in progress.
I wonder if we can change your voice.
I know. I wish we could. I do, man.
I prefer Australian. So
yeah, I like the British one.
Yeah, either of those will work. I have a female Australian who is from the UK, originally grew up there and then moved to Australia. So she has like this sort of hybrid British Australian accent. And I joke with her because I have an Australian female voice on my GPS.
Right.
And it instructs me to leave the motorway, when we come to and so I ask her whenever I talk to her to say that for me, because she sounds just like my GPS. So she gets a kick out of it.
That's the way.
Yeah. Could you please tell me to leave the motorway?
Yeah, mine is British, and I do laugh sometimes. It amuses me while I'm taking directions.
Yeah.
It pronounces some of the street names like that is not his.
So how's your morning?
Fine. How's your morning?
Good. Have you recovered from all of your travels?
Oh, I guess. I don't know. It's a process. I don't know. Yeah, back in the swing of things. That's where I'm at. What are we talking about today, Doug?
Oh, let's see. I think that you had said you had some things like promotion and outreach on your mind?
Oh yeah, outreach and what was that? Outreach and promotion.
But that's all you gave me, so I don't know really what you wanted to do.
Well, it's just kind of like new client acquisition, reaching out to people, keeping up top of people's minds.
Yeah.
I've seen some of your posts lately. They I don't know if they're advertisements or just actual posts, but they seem very polished, and I just kind of wondered how those were working out for you, and
well, thank you.
Spent on them, and what's your ROI? I don't know. I'm just rethinking how I'm doing a lot of things.
Well, I develop a lot of that stuff in Canva. Okay, so there's a tip for someone. Find a tool that works well for you, that makes it easy. I don't use Canva for actually doing my posts, but I could, because it has a post schedule in there. I do have a pro account, and then I might spend up to 30 minutes on a couple of the posts I did this last week that maybe you're talking about. I didn't have any more than 25 or 30 minutes in those from start to publish.
Okay.
And so anyway, I really like Canva. It's a nice tool. It works for me. I'm not a graphic designer, but it allows me to create some stuff that I think is visually nice, and and then whatever kind of message that I kind of have that I want to go. I didn't promote any of those posts. They're everything's a promotion. Everything's an ad, and some of it,
all posts are kind of like ads for either your personal brand, right? Or look at it that way.
So I had one here. This is interesting. So I had one post that was about comparison to AI mastering.
Okay.
And which maybe you saw that one. And I thought that was a visually really nice looking video.
Yeah, that one caught my eye.
And the impetus for that particular one is I had the opportunity to hear a mix along with 3 versions of an AI master.
Okay.
And um, and so I did a blind A/B on it, and because I wanted to remove myself from it and any um, bias that I might have in it. So I just set up a blind A/B test in metric A/B, and so I had the mix that the guy gave me as A, and then I set the other 3 up as B tracks, and then you can select those as you go, and then switch A/B and stuff like that. And so I had some help. I gave a family member instructions to click on um, either the A/B button, and if it was the B button, to choose a one of the versions, and
Hmm.
then click on the level match, and then
Okay.
let me know when that was ready. And then we would flip back and forth. I didn't know if it was the mix or if it was the AI mastering versions, and we went through it back and forth, back and forth. I chose the mix every time as the best representation
Oh,
of
interesting.
the song,
So the
which was
unmastered mix sounded better than the AI mastered mix.
to me.
Okay.
And honestly, I did it that way, and because I wanted it to be legitimate.
Hmm.
So and try to have it unbiased, but I wanted to also listen to it on here in my studio. So anyway, I thought it was kind of a cool setup. I let the mix engineer know that I'd take his mix over those any day, and just publish that, because
Yeah.
that was a great mix. I really thought the other ones were garbage. I mean, it was crushing dynamics,
Mm.
and so loud. I couldn't believe the level that they had
Oh, really?
pushed us to. The 3 masters were of different uh, configurations that you could choose
Right.
on the service. Um, uh, the one that was the most moderate was actually decent. Dynamics were still there and everything, but it just loaded up the mid range so bad that it lost a bunch of clarity.
Interesting.
Um, and yeah, so anyway, that was the reason that I did that post, because I was just like not impressed. And I don't know, if people listen back and forth, and to really compare and to be real critical of
I'm gonna
what they're
guess that
actually
they do,
getting.
but they don't listen to it level matched because,
Yeah,
everybody thinks that if it's louder, it sounds better, and that's kind of a psychoacoustic thing.
yeah,
And if the masters are simply louder and nothing else changes, it would already sound better. So probably that's what they're hearing is the level difference, not necessarily a quality difference.
yeah. um and I don't know, as far as outreach, it's really, for me, I think the stuff that I publish is really just reaching the people I've already connected with, and I feel very little that I get a lot of new clients as a result of what I uh of my content.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting.
um there's interactions and things like that. I might get like some awareness or whatever. I occasionally get a new follower or two,
Hmm.
but none of that turns into clients. My the best thing for me is to reach out to um to artists and studios that I'd be interested in working with, and just let them know, hey, I'd love to work with you. And that actually has been the most successful thing I ever do, and that's
That
just
makes sense. That's
yeah,
the other way of doing it is more passive. And you're right, you're kind of already speaking to the audience that you've already connected with. And I
yeah,
think your goal needs to be different there. Your goal needs to be just staying on top of mind and
yeah.
not necessarily, a new client acquisition, new follower acquisition, right?
Yeah. Now the idea of paid ads is to reach new followers, new clients, and
Right.
to be honest, it doesn't really succeed for me. And I think I've had good ads. I think the content that I've put out there, you know, it's not like it's crappy content. You know, it's not like it may not be the best, but it's good content. You know what I mean? And um, so I don't think it's the content itself. I think it's just the area that advertising in. Now I do know other mastering engineers who say that their ads perform really well for them.
Hmm.
You know, so that's kind of crazy and makes me want to spend more money on ads to keep trying, you know, but um yeah, you know, it just the ROI on social ads just hasn't stacked up for me. So
Yeah, well, let me ask that's an interesting thing that you just said. So other mastering engineers, so people who are doing exactly what you do are having good luck with paid ads. Are they doing something differently? Have they been doing paid ads longer, or what do you think the difference is?
I'm not sure. It may be um that they already have a uh, uh, you know, a huge catalog, or the people that they've worked with that I haven't worked with. There's something along those lines, you know. So they're reaching a segment through like really kind of a referral of you know, of their catalog.
Yeah.
I think because those mastering engineers are bigger than me.
So it may be that because they have more of a base of operations that they would be more successful regardless.
Probably.
Because I mean, there comes a point where word of mouth, and it's like a survivor bias thing. Like everybody seems to think that, oh yeah, word of mouth will carry me through. But word of mouth only works after you're established and already have like a, that the flywheel is
Yeah.
already turning for a while. Client acquisition and word of mouth and everybody talking to everybody. That's like that's a years long process for that to get any kind of momentum. And
Right.
if you're looking at that from outside going, well, this person's getting a lot of new clients or whatever, or fans for, just by word of mouth. Well, they've been around long enough to have that take care of itself. And they had to do something initially that was different than that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And the in my experience, word of mouth has always been the absolute best way to go.
Mhm.
Um, and then just direct contact and reaching out is always been, you know, the next best way. So, you know, if you have the opportunity to hang your shingle, you know, in someone's yard, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
You know, that's always a good thing because then the neighbors get an idea. Oh, they, you know, so and
Sure.
the same holds true. You know, so if some artists in this in a similar genre or whatever are connected to people that you work with, then the opportunity, you know, if there's a referral or even if they just happen to notice that you did the work for them, that's another thing. It's super important that the people that you work with and me and you um uh give credit as much as possible, you
Mhm.
know, and tag and link and you know, and promote others as
Yeah.
much as you can, you know,
Yes.
because that's what we all need.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm reading an interesting book about I picked up when on our trip up at Powell's in Portland, about being a producer in the digital era. And it's a little dated, but it's right on the cusp of everything turning digital. And it talks about the importance of A&R reps, which I don't think are really, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think they're really that influential or even exist as much as they used to in the past. And I'm just wondering about um I'm thinking out loud here, wondering about the possibility of, instead of like contacting the bands and the artists directly, contacting producers and A&R reps. What do you think about that?
um i
That's what we've ever
I don't
tried.
actually know any artists that actually use A&R reps.
Yeah.
I know very few you know, recording independent artists that have managers, you know.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And most independent artists that I know and you know, do all those things themselves.
Right.
Um,
That's
so it,
probably why I don't hear about it too much because
yeah,
self-producing, everybody's repping themselves, and that's why so many artists feel so like, spread thin and burnt out because they're doing basically like they're wearing 10 different hats themselves, right?
Yeah. And I think the artists that do have some management or do have PR companies working for them, I think they've got established more than your typical at home artist. I think, and not to say everyone, but they've had some success, whether that be a huge number of streams somewhere, but they've had some commercial success to get to the point of of needing that level of service.
Mhm. Yeah.
But and that might be, I don't know if that's an accurate statement, to be honest with you, because I guess I don't know. But just in my experience, I don't think there's really anyone independent artist wise. Now studios are different.
Mhm.
But as far as working with studios and labels and things like that, and but the independent artists, I think, are really just in the trenches doing it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that A&R is a major label thing, and I mean, I know people who, work at or own smaller independent labels, and I think they do their own A&R. You
Yeah,
know, I and I think that even within small labels, they wear multiple hats. Like the CEO, I think, is out doing
yeah.
our
And I don't know exactly um what the goal of the small label, the independent small label is. I mean, in one respect, it's just to be creative and to produce music. I think there might be an intent to hopefully build something to a point where it's available to pass off and sell to a larger label, in a commercial sense. But or to hold on to it um, and to keep rights. But the smaller labels may not be able to handle um, a $250,000 recording bill, to front to to an artist or a band,
Mhm.
or whatever, to produce their album and produce um, you know all the media and all the promo, graphic arts, everything that goes along with that. So it's going to take a label that's financially established to do that. And so that's a bigger deal.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that the kind of bands that sign with smaller labels, expect or need that level of budget. I think that they're doing either a lot of stuff themselves, as we said before, in terms of recording and touring. Like a smaller label's not going to sign anybody unless they already have an established fan base. They've shown that they're actually going out there doing the work, that they're going to be around a while. And they may be self-funding their own recording. I see a
Yeah.
lot of
I was
self-production
just I was
that
just
way.
watching some videos on artists who fairly recently that were doing a transparent disclosure of their touring costs.
Oh,
And like 10 grand for 3 weeks of touring,
wow.
and that's um maybe getting an okay hotel. I mean, nobody wants to sleep in the van,
Yeah.
and so it's gas is a big deal. And then lodging and food,
Mhm.
so all the transportation costs, and then anything that arises with having, that also includes um uh them getting paid,
Sure.
because to you got to make money, so that's the cost of the band members and things like that too. And hiring of musicians, at different places. So if you've got um a need, to bring a sax player in, but you don't have a player in your band, because you
Yeah.
recorded a studio album that has sax on it, and so you need to hire a sax player in each venue that you're going to or whatever to cover that. That kind of thing. So paying for subcontracted musicians to sit in with you. stuff like that. So,
Yeah, and of course you're gonna have to hire a booking agent, at the very
yeah.
least.
And I think a lot of these were actually um, trying to do that type of stuff themselves, but yeah. So booking agent. So there's tons of costs, but just to do it on the bare minimum, and travel and expenses, some flight costs,
Right.
um, and then trying to recoup if anything goes wrong, someone gets COVID, and you've got to cancel 2 weeks of shows, or whatever the case may be. Something's going to happen on the road that messes you up,
Mhm.
changes your travel expenses, you've gone from hoping to get done in 3 weeks to now it's going to be 6 weeks, and you have a choice of traveling 1,500 miles back to wait it out for 2 weeks, or paying for expenses where you're at for waiting it out, or whatever, something like that happens. And they were talking about that.
That all
And
sounds like a nightmare to me.
yeah, but they're like, this stuff, always something always happens, and drives prices up. So it's all the unforeseens. Um, but yeah, so 10 grand for traveling around, and that's not across the country. That was like a West Coast tour.
Mhm.
So all the way up through California, into Oregon and Washington, and that was it. So
Wow.
yeah. So I think it's pretty expensive to get out there and move around, and tour. So it's, if you think about a larger band and having, um, you know, you've got your sound engineers,
Sure, sure.
and you've got your PA equipment, and so you probably have to, you may have to rent PA if you don't own your own, or the venue PA, and then pay the venue sound engineer, and so there's all that kind of thing too.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of money. And it sounds like you're probably not making it back either.
Yeah.
You can't sell $10,000 worth of T-shirts in 3 weeks.
Yeah. So that's, is it true that touring is more about promotion and the money's in
Well,
album
that's what I was
sales?
gonna say. That's what it used to be. It used to be that the tour was the promotion for the album sales, but apart from, boutique vinyl collectors, I don't know that people are selling that much albums. I feel like the merch and is the more lucrative thing than people aren't getting money off of it. Spotify streams, as we all know. That's why you see so many established bands having, whiskey and tequila and beer and clothing lines, because even the big bands aren't making that much money on their traditional income streams. So they're all diversifying. It's all very interesting. I would really be interested to see the behind the scenes of all that, and who's making money and how they're making money, and I still feel that at the independent level, a lot of it is simply just a passion project. Like you specialize in a genre as an independent label because you're passionate about that genre and you want to bring that to more people. And it's not necessarily because you want to sell your label off, or you want to make $1 million. I mean, the CEO of the small label I'm thinking of, he's got a day job as a in the medical field, you know. And he does this as a passion project because he loves the music. And I think he's out doing A&R in addition to being the CEO of the label. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that. I think it's yeah, almost more passion than it is about the money to some degree.
One of the interesting things on that whole topic that came up with the different sources that I was, watching videos and reading and such about, was that um, there's a stigma that people expect artists to starve, to be starving artists, and in many of the cases, like if you look at discussion and comments and things like that, people are ridiculing them for getting a hotel, you know
Is that
uh,
still true?
what's that?
Is that still true? Because I know that I remember being, a teenager, and when your band you know, that you love so much suddenly has a song in a commercial. You're like, oh, they sold out, you know.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
no, well, they are trying to make money, you know. I mean, as you
yeah,
get older, you realize that, you know, they're not doing this for free. They're trying to
yeah.
make money. That's the whole point. That's why they want you to buy their records and go to their
Well,
concerts.
yeah, I think it is still true. I think there's still that stigma that artists shouldn't make money, you know, and if they do, uh, and do anything commercial with it, you know, they've sold out. I think that's still a thing, you know. Um, you know, if you're not hardcore touring and albums and you know,
Sleeping in your van.
yeah,
You're not a real musician unless you sleep in your van. You know,
right, right.
I'm not going to disagree that part of me thinks that is part of paying your dues, is coming up that way and learning it from that level and then appreciating it later on when you do make it bigger. But I don't have anything against, you know, I'm like, when I hear somebody's music in a commercial, I'm like, well, good for you.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, now it's like music that, you know, I
Well, you
like.
know, and there's sync and everything else, and you know,
Yeah,
so there's so much that we really never considered long time ago. You know, but about music that actually, I mean, the quantity of music that's actually made specifically to be a commercial seems to be
sure.
maybe I'm just more aware of it now. As opposed to them going, hey, that's a great album. I love that song. We want to put that on a commercial. You know,
Yeah.
it seems like it's more like, okay, here's a commercial and we need you to write some music just for this, you know. But
Yeah,
uh
I always thought that about that Lenny Kravitz song "Fly Away." It was like, I'm gonna fly away. I'm like, I just remember thinking, God, this sounds like he wrote this for an airline commercial.
yeah, yeah.
Thought of an airline commercial. I was like, clever man, clever man.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. I know I've thought that about songs before too, you know.
Yeah, it is funny. I do think that, you know, being on the other side of the board or whatever, we and being older, we do have a different perspective than we used to, whether that's just, you know, age and maturity, or whether that's, you know, being able to see behind the scenes or what. But yeah, I mean, I distinctly remember being, you know, a teenager and going, oh, they sold out, they sold out. I don't think that anymore. But I and sure, I've changed, the industry's changed too, and I actually am surprised to hear that that's still kind of a thing. I'm trying to think if I've heard my kids say that. I think I have, probably. Yeah, that's kind of fascinating though, isn't it? That kind of perception, like, you're not a real artist unless you're sleeping in a van and
Yeah.
scraping by and eating only, you know, happy hour food, frozen burritos. And maybe the perception there is that those people who are going through that hardship, those musicians that are going through that level of hardship, are doing it because they love the music that much.
Yeah.
And
They
and
love to play.
right, and they're
Yeah.
doing it for the love of music, and then when they get older and are doing it for money, it just feels like disingenuous. Maybe that's
Yeah, but
part of the perception problem.
yeah, unfortunately we have this thing that we need to do which is
Called
like paying our bills and
paying our bills. Yeah.
you know.
I know. Nothing's
Oh,
free, and nothing's
no,
free.
not to say you have to have a lavish lifestyle or anything like
Right.
that, but you know, I mean, even if you're, you know, have a modest, nice apartment or something like that.
Like, oh, soft tacos. Oh, you're so posh.
Yeah. So you know, but that's even that is expensive. You know, well, I don't know. I imagine rentals around your area are like ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, ridiculous. I don't think you can even do it without roommates at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I think the somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 or $600 a month for a one bedroom around here.
Sounds
So
cheap to
it sounds pretty cheap to you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
me. And for this, that's like less than you charge somebody to put their car in your garage.
Yeah, yeah. So you'd have to have like you know, 3 or 4 people to get an apartment each. What 11 or $1,200 a month or something like that each, or
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm about to find out because my son's looking for an apartment soon. It's gonna
And
be
that's
interesting.
in LA, right?
No, he just moved up here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he started working here this week. So he's the one that's living with us right now.
Gotcha.
So he's going to be looking for an apartment with his other teacher friend, and we're gonna see how long it takes them and where they end up, and how much it costs. It's gonna be interesting. that was a, that was a subject change a little bit, but anyway, outreach and promotion. No, I do a lot of passive outreach. I know you do too. I do a lot of content marketing type stuff. I don't really do any paid ads. I did dabble in it. Um, I didn't dabble in it long enough to see any kind of ROI. So, but it didn't really seem to be working for me.
Yeah. If you wait long enough, you'll get offers, and like Google Ads, they'll offer you a certain amount. Um, if you spend this much, we'll match it. Type of offers, you know.
They're
Um,
expensive though to begin with.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can, you might get like a $300 ad and get $600 worth of advertising from them for a month, and I think for Google advertising, that's pretty typical. That's a kind of budget you should probably look at having, for that type of advertising. It's, if you've got 50-60 bucks, you can do a really nice ad for 30 days or something like that on Instagram and Facebook,
Yeah, yeah,
so budget wise, that might make a lot more sense
yeah.
for
That's
for
where
for
I think
Benny.
I would
But
go first at this point if I was going to do it again, which I may.
and
Because
they'll send you
ten
um
dollars off
ten
Facebook.
dollars off or whatever, that's cool. Try it. That's all I can say is give it a try and see what happens. If they give you a 10 off, then put 20 into it, so it only costs you 10, and see what happens for 15 days or something like that.
Right?
And you go through the tools, it'll tell you how many people you're reaching, and once you're running it, you'll get some feedback, and it'll help you understand who's actually seeing you, which was interesting. So geography, what cities people are in, whether they're male or female, and overall percentages, how many people actually clicked on the link and did something, interacted in some way. So you get a little bit more of an understanding about what's going on in your account that way.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's kind
Uh,
of cool in that respect. Just even if you just do it once to just get an idea and a feel for who your audience is.
yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes it's worth it just to find out that information that you
Yeah,
might not have found out, because those metrics and the tools that they have are just, they're very deep.
yeah.
There's a lot there. But yeah, no, I was just curious what your goals were with that, because I do think that the graphics and stuff that you come up with are well done in my opinion, and they do jump out at me.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, I have approached it less from I want this to generate new business to more to here's a message I feel like I want to put out,
Mm,
and it's more of an internal thing. This is my point of view, or it may be asking a question. Have you considered this, or is it? Do you know? And because I'm wondering, do people know this? And do they, either do they listen, or are they aware of something, and that I am, and I'm trying to share that in some way. And if
mm,
that sparks interest in I guess really what I'm looking for is maybe some interaction, some dialogue, and actually having a conversation about something with someone, because that
that's
would be good, and that would actually be the beginning of developing a relationship if someone was, looking for my services anyway. So that's the way I'd like to start. But
I kind of like that. I kind of like that approach. It's definitely more organic and less salesy. Um,
Yeah,
because
'cause
thrust of your
there's
message is
so much of
different.
that stuff out there, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the other thing, and I'm curious about this, is I've heard and read that that the people that come to you now are the people that heard about you like 6 months to a year ago,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
like it's such a long game. It's such a it's like such a slow burn. Then that's why you have to keep putting out there because those seeds that you plant, they don't grow for a while. Somebody's clicking on it right away. The whole thing about seeing a message 7 times before you're ready to make a purchase.
yeah.
It's been true for a long time.
I think I just want to say it's okay to introduce yourself. But it's important in how you do that.
Yeah.
And you know, and including a crap load of your catalog links and other crap in that introduction is not the way to do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean? But to introduce yourself and to say this is what you do, and it'd be cool to get to know you. And anyway, have a great day. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. I like that philosophy and I like that approach. And I know it resonates with me, and I was curious how it resonates with people who contact you.
yeah, actually, like I said, that works great. So it's second only to direct referrals from others.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, Doug.
Yeah.
I know I turned this a little bit into a Doug interview, but I did that on purpose. That's, I think, something that you do, in my opinion, that you do well. And I just wanted to see if it was working as well as it seemed to be.
Oh, you know, it works like it does. You know? So yeah, the goal is to I guess to stay busy and work with music, you know, and if just try and keep that at the center of my primary purpose, you know, and I feel like other things will fall in place.
Cool. Well, I think that's about it for this week, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, everybody, hope you enjoyed the show and thank you for listening and watching.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you.
All
And have
right. All right. Peace, everybody.